So how to make any TV or any monitor super smart and being able to play YouTube, Kodi or pretty much any kind of video that you want, and also turn all that into a gaming station? Here's this $40 TV box which can do all that. Welcome, Tech4All channel, Michael speaking. Here's another cool piece of tech to inspect. I haven't done any TV box reviews in a while, especially after getting the latest edition of NVIDIA Shield TV, but it's now time to show you something that your pocket is going to like a lot. In times where we spend most of our days at home, having the right piece of tech for entertainment can be crucial. But we also need to be careful about the money that we spend on things we don't necessarily need, and the fantastic X96 Air comes to bring in the good gaming experience, excellent performance, and even 8K movie support for prices between $40 and $55 depending on the RAM and the storage configurations. This website demo we just did, I've recorded through the TV box itself, so web surfing and shopping is an option too, and is equipped with the latest and greatest hardware for its price point. There's a pretty fresh processor which handles loading websites very well. Like going to the website of this episode's sponsor, just type media.io and that's gonna give you access to the wonderful online UNI converter in order to quickly transform your audio or video files into something smaller. It's free to use for files below 100 megabytes, supports more than 1000 video and audio formats, the compression is also good and it won't make the footage any worse, and the best part, it can run entirely from a web browser. Let me switch to the desktop version and you can get advantage of the online video editor and a bunch of other online tools. And in case you need all that power for your computer, there are versions for Windows and macOS which are downloadable. The links and more information to be found in the description below the video, where I'm going to post the best deal for today's superstar as well, the X96 Air. The weird part is that it has no brand. Like most cheap TV boxes, that's a white label, could be purchased from most Chinese websites, and because of the lack of branding and marketing, it's all about the specs and the features. This has enabled the developers to bypass some important security concerns, and you shouldn't expect regular updates and current Android patch levels. It can't pass the safety net and comes pre-rooted, so keep that in mind. The device arrives in the usual for this kind of equipment package. Inside the TV box, a remote, the charger, HDMI cable, some paperwork, and that's it. In the past months, these devices finally started to receive better user guides. Look at that! In short, this TV box gives Android smartphone-like experience on your TV or monitor, and the whole thing is somewhere in between pure Android TV and pure Android. Technical specs sound like a low-end to a mid-range smartphone, 2 or 4 gigs of RAM, 16, 32 or 64 gigs of storage, quad-core Cortex-A55 CPU, which is in fact part of the latest generation of AM logic processors. It can encode up to 8K video footage, and comes with hardware support for all the important video and audio codecs and will perform significantly better than 2-year-old devices, for instance, especially concerning media playback. Lots of connectivity ports are involved, 2 regular USB ports and 1 USB 3.0, microSD slot, AV out, optical audio, perfectly equipped for connecting to a wide variety of TVs and soundbars, and of course the most important wireless part, 2.4 and 5G as well as Bluetooth. To connect to your TV, plug the HDMI cable, connect the power, get the remote control, time to have some fun. This is the launcher. There actually was no initial setup, which was a little weird. Make sure to connect to your Wi-Fi if you're not planning to use the LAN port, pretty easy to happen from the settings menu. This launcher is designed in a way to remind about the more current Android TV default launcher, but comes with more customizations and extras, however no dynamic content. You can add shortcuts to your favorite apps. Speaking of apps, there was some bloatware pre-installed, an app for multimedia and a few apps for free content. Most of the time, these free apps are safe to use, but the quality of the streams is questionable. There also is Netflix pre-installed. Note that the box does not have the necessary certification in order to play Netflix in Full HD or 4K, and the quality seems to be 720p or 480p. You can use Google and you may find a modified Netflix app that bypasses these limitations. The situation with YouTube, however, is different and way better. There's the Android TV edition of the app included, and it can stream in 4K without any issues. Playback was superb, and controlling with the remote was also quite easy. Because I've tested a lot of apps and games, I've also added a Bluetooth mouse and a gamepad, and before you ask me in the comments about the gamepad, I'm afraid I can't give you the link to purchase it, because this wonderful wireless Bluetooth Xiaomi gamepad was discontinued a few years ago, but still rocks. So apparently we can check the performance of some games. It is not Nvidia Shield-like experience, but it's certainly better than the popular Mi Box S by Xiaomi. Hopefully shooting at zombies won't be too bad for YouTube's algorithm, especially if we agree that it's only done to release the pressure. And looks like even the World Health Organization now recommends staying at home and playing games. Done! I've tested the most popular freemium games for you. FPS shooters with not too much graphics, they run fine. So does Rio Racing 3. Please excuse my not too smooth movements. In order to capture all that for you, I used a capture card. There was a slight delay between what I see and what the actual timing of the game is, and you know well how crucial latency could be for proper gaming. You will barely notice any frame skipping, and most of the time I was running the defaults. Heavier titles demanding higher-end smartphones, therefore graphics, are out of scope, but most games that you can play on most mid-rangers will run fine here. Furthermore, these 4 gigs of RAM give you a lot of advantages. Quick tour through the menus, you won't notice DTS support or HDR compatibility. More advanced audio and video decoding features come at a price which obviously the $40 for the X96 Air don't cover. I liked a lot of the video playback parts, very solid, absolutely no delays. Network streaming was perfect too, in case you plan to run Plex server or to stream from a NAS. The only time I noticed troubles when using slow USB attached to the player. If you put an HDD or portable SSD to the USB 3.0 port, this won't happen at all. In the synthetic tests, the box performed as expected. According to Geekbench, the performance is similar to 2015's flagship smartphones, which is fine for a cheap Android TV box. Good networking performance, and in real life, to copy file from NAS device was steadily running between 7 and 8 megabytes per second via 5G Wi-Fi. This is really good performance for TV box, and the reception was also very stable. To the things it won't offer: no proper Chromecast, you have Miracast instead. You won't see it listed as a streaming device on your phone's options. No L1 Widevine certification, meaning that streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime Video will run at limited quality. We count on only the basic video and audio decoding options, and no regular updates to be expected. But that's nothing new in the world of the cheap Chinese TV boxes. I guess most of you would need to make the choice between X96 Air and, for example, Mi Box S by Xiaomi. The simplest formula would sound like that. If you need gaming, locally downloaded movies, browsing, and more Android features, go in favor of the X96 Air. Netflix or similar services, Google Assistant and Chromecast being a priority, make the choice lean towards the Xiaomi's 2-year TV box. I hope that all helps you to choose your next TV box, or at least to narrow down the options. It's been a fantastic opportunity to present you all about the X96 Air and share my opinion on top. Stay fresh, take good care of yourself, even if that makes you shoot a few digital zombies, and see you in the next episode. Bye!